Hey, what's up and welcome to another episode of Game Positive. Today we have a kind of a different show. There's no news I'm going to go over. I'm actually just going to be talking about Halo Infinite and the update that came from the developers and why I think that Halo Infinite has an extremely bright future. So without further ado, let's just jump right into it. And before I go over my specific thoughts and before I go over all the contents that was included in this really large developer update, it was a half an hour presentation. I do want to address kind of some of the feedback that's happening with Halo Infinite, which I find to be very strange. It was kind of euphoric when I finished watching the developer update. I was pretty much blown away and excited by everything that they showed. And then when I went to see other people's reactions, it seemed like it was like the complete opposite. I see a lot of sentiment out there, negative sentiment out there regarding 343 for three kind of main points. And I just want to go through those before I get into the meat and potatoes of what was offered here with this developer update. So first of all, the main complaint that I'm seeing, or at least the main, what I would consider to be a logical complaint, and we'll get into why the other ones I don't think really have any merit at all. But the one pain point that did come from this was that split screen co-op has been canceled. Now, anecdotally, I know a fair amount of people actually that were excited about this feature in particular. I think it would be a nice to have more than kind of a necessary feature. I have been saying since day one, since Halo Infinite came out, that the priority focus should be on Forge, because Forge is going to be a transformative addition to the game. It's going to give the game so much more longevity. It's just going to be probably the biggest thing they could possibly add to the game. And we'll get into more about why that is further along into the update here. But I have a feeling that 343 has a lot of advanced metadata, metrics, and just kind of trend data that will show them how much this feature has been engaged with, not only in Halos of the past, but also in every game that Microsoft has ever released. Any game that Microsoft has ever released that has had couch co-op, they have the metrics that show how much engagement these features have. And then when you add into the fact that a large part of the people that wanted to play the game in co-op at launch have already played the game in single player and are even less likely to come back in co-op. That doesn't mean there's nobody out there who would want this feature, and that doesn't mean that people that are upset that it has been removed, because they did announce that they are canceling couch co-op. Online co-op will still be there. That's a completely logical grievance, but I think when you contrast that one negative aspect of this update with all of the mountains of positive things that they have brought to the table here, I think it's a little bit crazy to be as upset as some people are. Now, some of the other things that people are talking about is a lot of people, an alarming amount of people, and I'm alarmed by this because it really makes me question the kind of either the comprehension, the reading comprehension, and I guess visual comprehension of people that would have actually watched the update, or the kind of propensity that people have to literally just read a headline and accept it as fact and not dig into the details and just go from there. Because a lot of media outlets are the main kind of takeaway from this outside of split screen canceled is that season 3 is, quote, delayed until March of next year, which would then make season 2 a 10-month long season. Now, that is technically true, but it's only true in name alone, as the fall update, or the winter update, that is coming relatively soon, which would have been the place where season 3 should have launched, it actually has more content in this update than both season 1 and season 2 combined, which we'll talk about more again when we dive into the update. So yes, technically the branded season 3 is not coming until March, but we are getting a huge chunk of content that in and of itself is bigger than both season 1 and season 2 combined. That is coming in the fall on November 8th. So the fact that people are raging about or even claiming that this season has been delayed is so disingenuous, because like I said, if they would have called the fall update season 3 and then called what's coming in March season 4, then we wouldn't have, like, apparently that would be completely fine. But just because of the naming conventions, it's making people really mad. It really makes me question whether people have actually watched the video and seen what is coming and seen what everything that they've said, the stuff that we're going to go over in a second here, or if they had just kind of read the headline and then just became outraged and then didn't look into anything. I see a lot of content creators who I'm not going to name. I don't want to throw anybody out there or whatever. I see a lot of people that are like, that I know for a fact do not play Halo and barely care about Halo, complaining that 343 is incompetent and that the whole point of Halo, I've seen several people literally say the whole point of Halo is couch co-op, which is so far from reality that it just is blowing my mind. So hopefully we're going to go over all the stuff that's included here. There's a ton of stuff, and I'm going to give you my take, because I truly believe that Halo Infinite is on the upswing right now. I think the future is extremely bright for Halo Infinite, and I think what's coming in November is going to be really awesome for the game, and then going forward, it's just going to keep getting better. So let's just jump into the update here. There is quite a lot to go over, so we'll just start at the very beginning. The whole conference, or the whole video presentation, was with Joe Staten, head of creative at 343, Brian Gerard, or Sketch, the community manager, and a relatively new face that I personally haven't seen speak on one of these was Sean Barron, head of live service at 343. For those that don't know, Sean Barron has over 10 years of experience working with 343, so he's been there nearly from day one. Previously, he was the head of player sentiment, and he kind of served in an analytics role. Now he's focusing on everything that's kind of not handled by the gameplay team or like the arts team and stuff like that. He's planning the different seasons, and he wanted to be very upfront in acknowledging the challenges that they have faced. He went on to provide a list of priorities that he kind of put out there. He has the one core principle, that the one thing that is the most important thing for his team and kind of Halo in general, Halo Infinite in general, at least the service side of things, is what he called achieving seasonality. And no, that's not like a Mortal Kombat finisher. What he means by seasonality is getting the players more of what they want and getting it to them faster with greater consistency. So right now, the target is a 20-week season between like the fall update and March, but he wants to get that down to 13 weeks, which is more of the standard kind of operating procedure for games like this, which would give you 4 seasons in a year. So achieving seasonality is obviously huge for Halo Infinite. That is like the biggest kind of linchpin in what's going on right now, is the time it's taking to get from season to season and content drop to content drop. But then he listed 4 other priorities that there is the main focus of his team, the live service team. He wants to make sure that Halo Infinite is, quote, infinitely rewarding. Now, obviously, that's a clever pun, but it is a major problem with Halo Infinite. It's one of the biggest problems that I've been kind of shouting from the rooftops about for a long time. He wants you to be able to feel rewarded for playing, no matter what you're playing or how much you're playing, and stuff that kind of goes into that is providing match-based XP, improving events to be more rewarding and less reliant on challenges, and then giving you reasons to want to keep playing, with things like career ranked rewards, and seasonal and career challenges. So what that means in a nutshell is right now the kind of progression system in Halo Infinite is entirely tied down to the battle pass and the event passes, which in and of themselves are battle passes, and the progression that goes through those events are entirely based, for the most part anyway, on challenges. And challenges are kind of nice bonuses, but when they act as your only means of progressing something, then it really kind of manipulates not only what you're playing. So if you want to play Slayer, but all your challenges are for like capturing the flags or objective or big team battle, then you're going to have to choose whether you want to play the mode you want to play, or whether you want to progress in the battle pass or the event. And when these events are limited time, you really are kind of pressured into playing stuff that you may not want to do, and not really getting any rewards, because you don't get match-based XP. And then on top of that, if you did go into a game that is going to give you an opportunity to do a challenge in that game, that also could alter your gameplay in something that will make you less competitive. So for example, if you match into a capture the flag game and you have a challenge to get 5 melee kills, well, you might try to like run in recklessly into battles to try to get melee kills to do this challenge, which may or may not have been the best thing tactically to do in that situation, which could result in you dying more than normal and could result in you losing, which could affect your team's games. And it's just a mess, right? You want to have match-based XP for simply playing the game. And then on top of that, they're going to add performance-based modifiers to that. So the better you do, the more XP you're going to get. That's essentially how a game like Apex Legends works. And I'm going to reference Apex a lot because I think Apex Legends, at least from a progression and rewards perspective, is unrivaled in the service games industry, and I think that is the gold standard. So Apex Legends has challenges which are nice and they provide great bonuses to your progression, but you also get a ton of points for just playing the game and playing the game well, which is why it works so well. You don't always have to try to get these challenges done. They just kind of either happen naturally or you can very slightly kind of alter how you're playing to do a specific challenge, which is really nice. The next priority that he spoke about was being able to create a Halo identity in meaningful ways. He talks about significantly more distinctive and varied customization options without abandoning the traditional Halo look and feel, having more intuitive and personal playlist options and user interface, improving the player onboarding experience and player safety and reporting avenues, and also more avenues for showing off experience and skill in customization. This, again, is literally word for word exactly the types of stuff that I want to have in Halo Infinite. So what he means by significantly more distinctive and varied customization options without abandoning the Halo look and feel is all about making sure that the legendary Spartan armor that you unlocked looks a lot different than the other legendary Spartan armor that somebody else unlocked. They want you to be able to have a distinct look without abandoning what it means to be in the Halo universe. So they don't want you to unlock like a Goku skin in Halo Infinite, but they do want to make sure that the skins you do unlock look really, really cool. Again, Apex Legends is amazing at this. They have it a little bit easier because they have different characters who in and of themselves all have distinctive looks. So it's very easy to kind of make more distinct options between those. Halo is going to have a harder time with that. It depends really how wide they want to stretch that Halo look and feel. I think something like the Tenrai kind of samurai armor is a really, really good kind of way to get something from like Japanese, Chinese mythology and then kind of implement that into a Spartan suit. I think they did a great job with that. Hopefully we're going to see more stuff like that. But more importantly, the thing that really shines out for me here is having more avenues to show off experience and skill and customization. So again, I'm going to talk about Apex Legends a lot. That'll probably be my last kind of disclaimer about Apex Legends. But in Apex Legends, you are always trying to accomplish different challenges in games, whether that's getting a specific amount of damage in a single round, getting a certain amount of kills, whatever the challenge might be. There's all kinds of different challenges you can get. Some are skill related that won't happen often, and it really takes a lot of skill to pull off. Some of them are more longevity based, like getting thousands of kills or whatever. But every time you complete a challenge like this, you're going to unlock different kind of tags or poses or different emblems and stuff like that are all going to go on your player card. And your player card is something that you'll see before every game, same with your team, so you can really show that off. And also your player card will be like put into the map sometimes. They have these kind of holographic posters that will show you kind of show your profile card in the game map, which is another way to show off your achievements and accomplishments. And then also, if you're the champion from a previous round, you may be the champion squad in that particular match of Apex, and then everybody in the lobby will see your player card. And you have certain poses, you have different kind of styles you can put on that. Again, all the tags that will show how many kills you had, how many downs you had, how many headshots you had, how many of different things you've accomplished. It's basically, it makes it worth it to kind of chase these things down because you get to put it on display, right? So like if you won the Super Bowl in the NFL and the reward was just everybody, like someone told you that you won and that's all you got, you didn't get the Lombardi trophy, then it kind of takes something away from that. Like, I'm sure you know that you accomplished this, but being able to hoist the trophy is part of the reason why people try so hard to win the Super Bowl, right? You want something that's going to show that off, and Halo Infinite doesn't have anything like that right now. So them talking about this, music to my ears. Some other tidbits from here. One thing that I thought was interesting was they talked about improving the player onboarding. I don't know exactly what they mean by that, but I think having something like a team training playlist, like they used to have in Halo 2, where if you have played only a certain amount of games, or if you're a new player, or if you're a lower rank, then you can go into this lobby that will only put you with other like similarly skilled players, or maybe have a specific playlist that has skill-based matchmaking. Because sometimes what happens in Halo Infinite is the lobbies are not super balanced. Like you might be a gold player that gets matched up with Onyx players, and because there's such a high skill gap within Halo, and Halo's free to play, so it's really easy to smurf in Halo, it might be kind of not super fun for someone who's just trying to get into it. Because if you played Halo for the first time against someone who's experienced, you're not going to get those kind of fluky, lucky, I saw you first kills that you might get in a Call of Duty or something like that. And that really turns off new players. So being able to onboard them better is definitely something that is going to be really important for Halo's longevity. The other priorities that they mentioned was that the game needs to be competitive and fair. They say players can expect skill and teamwork to be the path to victory. They go on to talk about multiplayer gameplay performance enhancements. I think that Halo Infinite's gameplay is phenomenal. It's very, very tight. It's very precise, and it is one of the best feeling PvP shooters that you can play right now, full stop. But there is one huge issue that I always run into every time I play, and that is that there's no player collision. So a lot of times you can melee through somebody, like through their body, and not connect with them because of the way that the collision works. So if they're talking about that, then this is like poggers. That's like one of the best updates they can do. I don't know specifically if that's what they're talking about. I think a lot of this may have to go with or may have to do with the PZ side of things, where from what I'm told anyway, the game is not super well optimized, but I have not really played much on PC outside of the beta. They talk about adding additional ranked options. So hopefully, because they don't go into a lot of detail, but hopefully what this means is they're going to have a system that is more of similar to Apex or Gears of War, where to enter in a match, you have a specific amount of points that you have to spend, and then based on your performance, you will get points back. So if you're outperforming the competition, you're going to keep getting more points and keep ranking up. But if you are kind of where you're supposed to be in ranked, you're going to usually average out to be spending as much as you're gaining and kind of stay in the rank that you're in. So in Apex Legends, if you're in gold, the cost of entering a match is going to cost more than silver. So you're going to have to outperform and play better in those matches in order to get the points back to kind of keep ranking up. And that system is just going to put you in the league or the lobbies that you're supposed to be in, and it's going to make grinding and kind of ranking up a lot more satisfying. I think Gears does it really well. I think Apex does it really well. The whole play 10 placement matches and get randomly put into somewhere is a very flawed system because you have no control over who you're playing against. It seems pretty random. Myself, in Halo, I actually the last time I did placement matches, I literally won one game and lost 9 games and got put in high diamond. So like that doesn't make any sense to me. I should start at like silver, gold and work my way up. If I'm not supposed to be in silver or gold and I'm just completely destroying the competition, I won't be in there for very long because I'm going to be getting the points to push me out of that into another league. Like I think that system is so much better, and hopefully that's what they're talking about here. They're talking about server input and matchmaking options. So that is going to be how crossplay works. Like they may enable PC crossplay, but only with controller inputs. And matchmaking options, that's probably altering between skill-based matchmaking and connection-based matchmaking. And then, of course, they talk about adding more improvements to their anti-cheat system, which is a kind of a PC thing, but when crossplay is involved, it can impact console as well. So good quality of life things there. And then finally, the last kind of point that they wanted to mention in terms of the core of the game is they want it to be a stable and high quality experience. They want players to expect smooth quality experience with few technical flaws, and they really are kind of pointing at PC here. They talk about stability and performance options, customization, experience upgrades, and user interface improvements. That's kind of very vague and covers a lot, but they really want to make sure that the game's ambitions or the game's performance, matches its ambitions. So like to see that. Again, that's kind of in a order of priority. I think that the most important things is that Halo Infinite is infinitely rewarding and that it has it gives you the ability to express your Halo identity in meaningful ways. Those are the two biggest problems with the core of the game, and those are the first two things they talked about, which is very, very reassuring. Finally, after kind of that part of the video where they're talking about the core quality of life improvements and stuff like that, they went into some of the content that we can expect. So first up is going to be the winter update coming in November 8th. This is, quote, not season 3, but I think you'll be impressed with the content that they're going to deliver. So first and foremost, most importantly, Forge is going to be launching into a beta form. And I know that people are a little bit kind of cautious as to what Forge beta means. Forge beta is going to mean the same thing as multiplayer beta did. If you recall, the multiplayer beta is what launched before the campaign launch, and it was essentially the full multiplayer mode. It just kind of gives them a little bit of wiggle room in case there is a bug here or there. They don't have to call it a full release, and there could be some bugs that are still like some kind of low priority, like low impact bugs that don't necessarily get fixed before launch, so that they can launch it as a beta and get those things patched up. For all intents and purposes, though, it should be, for the most part, fully online. And if you can see what players are making with just the alpha version of Forge, then you're going to be able to create and play a lot of interesting experiences with the Forge beta, launching on November 8th with the winter update. They go on to talk about Forge a little bit. They say it's exponentially more powerful than any other Forge. For reference, and this kind of stuff really blows my mind. It might go over some of your heads, but I don't think it's too complex. Anyways, with Halo 5 Forge is exceptional. There are so many awesome maps and awesome creations that people have made within Halo 5's Forge, and that is without there being a PC client for the majority of its lifespan. The PC client kind of came later in its lifespan, but with Halo 5 Forge, you had a maximum object count, which is how many different objects you can put into your map world, of 1,600 objects, which was quite a lot. It was significantly more than any Halo had at the time, but prior to that, and that's why you're able to get so many cool kind of escape rooms and mazes and these huge maps and all this cool stuff, because you have this huge limit of 1,600 object count, maximum object count. Halo Infinite is over 7,000 objects, maximum 7,000 objects. That is a insane amount of detail that you're going to be able to add to your maps. And on top of that, the average size of the Forge canvases and biomes are 2 times larger than any other canvases and biomes from Halo 5 or any other Forge. They're going to have object scaling, which is going to allow you to actually change the dimensions of the different objects, so you don't have to rely on the same blocks that are the same, a specific size, to make very kind of formulaic maps. A lot of Forge maps kind of look the same, especially in older Forges, because you have a very specific set of objects you can manipulate. And people are really creative in finding different ways to do that. But when you can like scale the objects to be big or small, that's going to imagine having Legos and the ability to press a button and turn the Legos into like Play-Doh and be able to move them and shape them in any way you want, and then make them back into a Lego block. Like, that's kind of what we're looking at with object scaling. They have node graph scripting, which is going to allow you to script different events. It has a really awesome interface. It looks like they were showing the PC side of things when they were kind of demoing it a little bit, but it's going to have node graph scripting and nav mesh, which is going to help bots be able to navigate your map, so you can be able to add bots into your Forge maps, which is really, really cool. That's kind of all they talked about with Forge, but they did say that more info is going to be coming to Halo Waypoint in the form of different Vidocs and featurettes and blog posts, and we can see that. We can look forward to that stuff in the next few weeks. They mentioned that the winter update is going to contain 2 new multiplayer maps that are actually built in Forge. One is Argyle, which is a 4v4 kind of stealth sniper focused arena map with heavy emphasis on elevation and grapples. And then Detachment is a BTB map that is Capture the Flag inspired. And they went on to talk about it having kind of what they refer to as Power Island. So there's an actual island that you have to traverse to in the map, and that's where the majority of the power weapons spawn, which is kind of a neat kind of twist on a big team battle map. That Power Island's probably going to be where all the action happens. So excited to jump into those 2 new maps. Both of those maps are being play tested now, and when the update comes in the winter update, those maps will be in matchmaking. So that's a good sign, because if there are really awesome Forge maps from the community that kind of rise to the top and are being tested and played a lot, then it's a lot easier for 343 to slide those into matchmaking, especially if they have a playlist that's dedicated to Forge maps. And that will greatly increase the variety of games that you're able to play. Not just maps though, modes as well. They have a new mode that's also built in Forge that will be coming with the winter update called Covert One Flag. This is kind of based on One Flag CTF, but with a little twist. One Flag CTF, for those that don't know, is you play on usually an asymmetrical map, and one team is the attacker and one team is the defenders. So there's only one flag that you have to worry about. In this mode, the attackers will spawn with, or both teams, spawn with a specific loadout. The attackers are going to spawn with a pulse carbine and a sidekick with unlimited camo, which is pretty insane. But the defenders are going to have commando rifles, energy swords, and unlimited threat sensors. So the gameplay loop is going to be kind of spies versus mercs in a way, where the attackers are going to try to sneak around with the camo, and the defenders are going to try to be spamming their threat detectors to try to find the people in the camo, because they definitely outgun them. Although the sidekick, I think 343 might be kind of underestimating how strong that gun is. But anyways, I think that's going to be a really fun mode. That's a very social mode. It's going to be a mode that's not going to be super, super sweaty and just kind of pure fun, which Halo kind of needs that in balance with its regular kind of super competitive arena modes. Also coming with the update is going to be the network campaign co-op, campaign replay with new campaign achievements, and a free 30-tier battle pass. The reason why this battle pass is free is, one, to apologize for what the first year ended up being with Halo Infinite, but more importantly, it is that with this winter update, they're going to be doing a beta test for the new Match XP system, and Match XP is going to be what kind of progresses the battle pass on top of challenges and stuff like that. They went on to talk about how the balance between how much XP you get per match and how much XP you get for having like good performances in that match is very important to make sure that you are progressing through the pass at a kind of faster pace. They have this kind of pace in mind that they're talking to the community about, to see like how long should it take you to pass through 30 levels of a battle pass, and then they can extrapolate that into how long should it take you to go through 100 levels of a battle pass. The worst thing that they could do is implement this Match XP system and then kind of slow the progression of the battle pass down to a snail's pace because of bad math, or because they just kind of misinterpreted like what the threshold should be, and then charge you for that battle pass. If people had to pay for a battle pass that had slower progression, that's going to be 1,000 news articles. That's going to be people outraging all over the place. So they're doing a smart approach here by giving you this for free and letting you beta test going through this with this new system to make sure when they do charge you for the Season 3 Battle Pass that the progression is nailed down, and you're going to go through that Battle Pass, progress through it at an acceptable speed. So that's really, really good to see. Now, the reason why I think this update is so much better than Season 1 and Season 2, even combined, is quite simply because of Forge. So you're going to get 2 maps, which is kind of right in line with what you expect from Season 1 or Season 2. You're going to get a cool new mode, which is kind of right in line with what you would expect from Season 1 and Season 2. But what you're going to get from Forge is going to be insane. I'm going to spend a lot of time building maps. The community is, you're going to see maps that are recreations of maps from old Halos, maps from old other games. You're probably going to see like Shores of Time from Destiny or Gridlock from Gears of War. The community behind Forge is amazing. There's so many forgers out there, and the tools that they're going to get is going to make creating these things so much easier, and the results are going to be so much better. There's definitely going to be Discords and stuff like that, and websites where you can share these different Forge maps, and it's just going to be really, really awesome. You're going to get so much out of Forge, and on top of that, campaign co-op will finally launch with campaign replay, which is going to be good for achievement hunters, and then of course new achievements to chase. Hopefully they're going to be really, really tough, like maybe like completing the campaign co-op on Lasso, or maybe add some Vidmaster challenges, which would be really, really, really awesome. But that's it for the winter update. I think that is going to be kind of the catalyst that kicks off Halo's ascension back into where everybody thinks it should be. The winter update wasn't the only thing that they talked about in terms of content, though. They also talked a little bit about Season 3, which they're calling Echoes Within. That will be launching on March 7th, 2023. Within that season, you're going to get kind of more of that light kind of sprinkle of narrative that's going to add some context and flavor for whatever the new mode ends up being within this new pass. They actually do talk about the new modes. I'll mention those in a second. This is supposed to be the beginning of what seasonality means to 343. So what that means is once this comes out, you should be expecting a season every 13 weeks or 4 seasons within a 12-month span, that's what the game really, really needs. And I think that's going to be huge. There's going to be a 100-tier battle pass, which is going to be based on the tuning information that they get from Match XP beta in the winter update, so that you can guarantee that that's going to give you quicker progression. And keep in mind that Halo Infinite doesn't have expiring battle passes. So if you are kind of a player that hasn't played in a while and maybe you haven't completed the older battle passes, that Match XP kind of quicker progression is going to be able to be applied to those as well. So you can get through some of those battle passes too. There's going to be a new SPI armor core, new fracture events, and very, very importantly, they're going to be adding a custom game browser. So from the winter update in November 8th up until March 7th, you're going to have foragers busting their butts, creating amazing content, maps, modes, etc. Within Forge. And then once this update comes out, you're going to have a custom game browser, which is going to make it super easy to jump into all kinds of awesome experiences. They're going to be adding more robust player reporting, so you can report kind of smurfers or cheaters or just kind of anyone that's giving you a hard time. You're going to be able to report them in game, which is a lot more it's a lot easier and it's a lot more effective than using the kind of platform reporting tools that you have on like Xbox or PC or anything like that. There are going to be 2 new maps coming with Season 3. One is a Big Team Battle map, which they're saying is the biggest map they've ever created for Big Team Battle, which it's very vehicle focused. There's going to be lots of vehicles on there. And the Arena one has me really excited because it's based in a Oni kind of black site, and that's built into an icy mountain, and it's an asymmetrical map. This map, I know it's not called Lockout, and it probably isn't exactly Lockout, but it has huge, strong Lockout vibes. And I personally think Lockout's the best map in Halo history. I think Halo 2 Lockout BRs is the best, most purest form of Halo there ever has been. And I can't wait to try this map out, even though there's definitely going to be Lockout created in Forge like on day 1. So excited for that as well. 2 new modes are coming in Season 3, VIP and Escalation. VIP and Escalation are older modes that are making a comeback. So VIP is a team-based game where each team has a, quote, VIP, and you only get points for killing that VIP. And when you kill that VIP, a new person on the team becomes VIP. So you're kind of protecting and chasing down a target, which is kind of interesting. And Escalation was in other Halos as well. It's very similar to a gun game from Call of Duty, if you know what that is. They're also going to be adding new weapons and equipment in the season, which is a first for Halo Infinite. The new weapon is called the Bandit Rifle, and they say it's supposed to kind of embody the DMR feeling from Halo Reach, although they are taking the scope away. So it's going to be more effective at close range than the DMR typically was intended to be. You still have the Smart Link, the same kind of way you can ADS with like any other gun in Halo Infinite that doesn't have a scope, but it's going to be much more effective at close range and not have as much flinch and stuff like that, which is nice. And then the new equipment that they're adding is the Shroud screen, which is kind of like a smoke screen that's contained in a specific bubble. It doesn't block projectiles or grenades, but it blocks vision both into the bubble and outside of the bubble if you're in there. It's very, very similar to one of the abilities that's very common in Valorant, if you've seen that game being played, and it will definitely add some interesting kind of mechanics to the game. Anytime they're going to add new equipment, it's going to be a big shakeup, and I'm excited to see how that is. And that's all that they talked about so far for Season 3. Of course, there's going to be different fracture events. There's going to be a lot more different cosmetics and stuff like that. They did mention that they're working on tuning the Spartan core system, so you'll be able to kind of more freely customize. Some of that's already implemented into the game right now, which is nice to see. They briefly mentioned that Halo Esports is kind of winding down this year, or winding up, I should say, into the main World Championships. Halo Championship Series Melbourne is actually this weekend, and you can get a free WASP coding if you watch 2 hours of the tournament on Friday, and a free spree charm if you watch the finals for 1 hour on Sunday via Twitch drops. And the Halo World Championships, the final, is going to be in Seattle in October. overall, my thoughts is I loved everything that they said. This update was music to my ears. It was painful at the beginning, at the very, very beginning. One of the things that they had said is that everything that they're talking about today is supposed to be implemented and ready to go by the end of 2023, which made me I was very concerned when they said that. But pretty much all the meat and potatoes, all the majority of the stuff that's most important are very front loaded. So you're getting a huge chunk of it in November, and you're getting almost the rest of it by March. I think that some of the kind of behind the scenes quality of life, maybe stuff like the anti-cheat, like that might be kind of lower on the totem pole. So maybe it won't be everything that they talk about, might not be implemented by like season 3, but the big things that are really important to the game, those are coming very, very soon. Which is why I think this outrage that's been happening is kind of so annoying. I've seen so many articles that have led with Halo Infinite Season 3 delayed until 2023. And then a lot of people raging about how Season 2 is a 10-month long season and how that's unacceptable. And like, it's so like bad faith, because if you look at the winter update, you're getting so much there. It's crazy, man. Overall, I think like Halo Infinite is on the upswing right now. I think it kind of had a little bit of a sign of life with season 2. I think the worst though was like mid season 1, and that is really far behind us at this point. I think once this stuff comes out in November, once we start rolling into season 3 and the custom games browser comes out, once people start actually playing what the Forge creators are making, because you have to imagine like 99% of Halo players are not like creative types, right? Like they're not the type of people that are going to spend hours and hours like meticulously placing like pieces of grass in this Forge map, right? They're not going to do that, but other people are. A lot of people are, and those people are going to provide those maps to the other 99%, and it's going to lead to some of the best maps and modes that you're going to play in Halo Infinite. That's how it's been with Halo forever. Tower of Power, Zombies in Halo 2, those were community-made games. Griffball in Halo 3, that's a community-made game. There's so many things that come from the community. All of the MLG Pro settings, the stuff that later was implemented into like the Team Hardcore or the kind of HCS playlist, all of that is community driven. A lot of the stuff that makes Halo so good comes from the community, and the Forge toolset is going to be like arming that community with rocket boots. It's going to make the ability of these things to kind of float to the surface and be experienced by the base, like the main kind of bulk of the Halo fans, so much easier. And with stuff like Discord that wasn't really around during like the Halo 3 days, and the ways that you're going to be able to share things through Xbox Live and through other things like Twitch and stuff like that, and YouTube's prevalence, that's just going to make sharing this content so much easier, which is going to make discovering the content so much easier, which is just going to fill Halo Infinite with so many fun ways to play. And overall, I think that Halo Infinite has an extremely bright future as a service, and I'm looking forward to what's coming next from the campaign immensely. I was hoping when the game launched that we would have like yearly updates. That doesn't look like the case. So hopefully we'll see more next year. If it's like a 2-year cycle or a 3-year cycle, we still don't know. But whatever it is, I'm looking forward to it, because there's clearly going to be more, as Halo Infinite story has a kind of open-ended finale. And yes, of course, there's Project Tatanka from Certain Affinity, which is either a Halo Battle Royale or a Halo take on Battle Royale. Either way, looking forward to seeing what's coming over there. Like I said, super excited for the Halo Winter Update. I'm definitely going to be jumping in, although I will say, coming out on November 8th, the day before God of War, is... that is a bold move. Obviously, the amount of people who love Halo and love God of War probably don't cross over as much as other games may, but I am one of those people, so I'm going to have to be making some tough choices in terms of what I'm going to be playing, but definitely going to at least be playing both. And November 8th, there's going to be no God of War, so I'll be definitely in Halo all day that day. Hope to see you there. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll talk to you soon.